Not in office yet, but some of the trappings of power are already his. After spending the winter holding court at his Mar-a-Lago estate, Donald Trump boarded a presidential plane, leaving behind the Floridian warmth for the piercing chill of sub-zero Washington. And never has it been more welcoming. It's not just the fireworks at his golf course or the kitsch musical endorsements.
We are looking at a deep freeze to develop.
It might be so cold in Washington that the inauguration has been forced indoors for the first time in 4 decades. But the freezing temperatures belie the underlying warmth. For Donald Trump returns to D.C. triumphant.
Right now, I'm currently selling the inauguration buttons.
Basking in the total control of Congress, the support of corporate America, and of course, the endless loyalty of the MAGA faithful.
The transformation for many is unfathomable. The anger and defiance against Donald Trump when he first came to the White House in 2017 has, on the surface at least, dissipated, replaced instead with a weary sense of resignation and capitulation, for now at least.
The wasted staging will be of little worry to the president-elect. His inaugural committee has raised $150 million from donors, including the once unfriendly tech giants like Microsoft, Google, Meta and Uber. Along with the ever-present Elon Musk, the billionaire bosses of Facebook, Amazon and Apple are all turning up to pay homage. And for one tech firm loved by the president-elect, his taking office can't come soon enough. TikTok has gone dark in the US after the Supreme Court upheld a law that effectively banned the hugely popular video app, unless it says he'll sign an executive order on day one to delay that ban. The titans of tech join a guest list that is in part conventional and in part totally unprecedented. But instead of the handful of foreign ambassadors invited out of politeness, like distant cousins at a wedding, Trump has invited the cream of the world's far-right and nationalist governments, like Italy's Giorgia Meloni. Others, like the former Home Secretary, have just turned up.
Listen, I've got the Make America Great hat again.
So it's all coming up trumps for Donald.
Everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know.
But friendships can be fickle in the wheeler-dealer world of Washington and the world of politics in general. Tomorrow, yes, he enters the White House with the Republican Party, Congress and business in his grasp. But 4 years from now, the man he's replacing knows how quickly that can all change. He opted to spend his last full day in office getting out of town, heading to South Carolina, the state that propelled Biden to the Democratic presidential nomination 5 years ago, back when he needed friends.
And Siobhan is with me now. Siobhan, this TikTok business is just one of the many things on his agenda on day one, but it's really interesting, isn't it?
It is, and he's clearly making it his priority, and the TikTokers seem to have him on side. He said, as we said in the piece there, that tomorrow he intends to sign an executive order from that White House that would essentially allow TikTok to keep on running for as long as it takes to secure a deal that will be in the interest of America's national security interests. We know that Donald Trump wants TikTok up and running to see all the pomp and pageantry of his inauguration. He doesn't want anybody to miss that. He knows the power and the reach of the platform, just as it was so essential to him for his re-election. Interestingly, what he's proposing, though, is that the US potentially goes into a joint venture to own TikTok, a 50-50 joint venture, either with a new owner or with the existing owner, Matt, who, of course, is ByteDance, the Chinese company. China, of course, who his soon-to-be Secretary of State Marco Rubio described this week as America's most potent and dangerous adversary.
And one should also say that some of these people gave some money to Trump's campaign.
Apparently they did.
They did. OK. Siobhan, thanks very much. Now, in the final hours of his presidency, the author and political consultant Susan Platt was chief of staff to Joe Biden when he was a senator. She joins me now from Virginia. Susan, it's good to have you back on the programme. I know that you were team Kamala Harris. You were not very happy about Donald Trump getting re-elected. But what do you look out for tomorrow during this inauguration and during his speech?
Well, tomorrow, of course, will be the first day of welcoming back our chief felon and commander of chaos. It's been wonderful 4 years of no chaos that comes from the White House. Biden had a comforting, calming effect. Some would say too much. But I think what we're going to be looking for tomorrow as we listen to his speech, he ran a very dark campaign, as we all know. He's going to be talking about unity and fairness, his folks say. But I'm not sure what's fair about dismantling the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, banning books, taking away women's rights, deporting millions of immigrants. I'm just not sure that I believe him on that. We'll wait and see. I hear he's going to enact over 100 executive orders on day one. We'll see what happens to that. But, you know, it's going to be time that the roosters come home to roost, or the chickens come home to roost, because he's made all these promises. It's just seeing what he does.
I mean, it's interesting that you're still quite critical of him, because many of your friends and colleagues on the Democratic side, including some of the bigwigs in Silicon Valley, have been very much kowtowing to Donald Trump, putting a ton of money into his inauguration fund, going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. Is there a general realignment here amongst those who feel that they were defeated in the election to basically, you know, to put up with Trump?
Definitely not. I think we have a pause. But I do think Democrats, just like all Americans, we want to get something done that's good for the whole of the country, not for the oligarchs, not for the billionaires. But that's what Donald Trump is doing now, surrounding himself with billionaires that control our media, control our messaging, and really aren't out for all of us. I mean, he talks a good game. Donald Trump really does, of being progressive and for the whole, but really all he's for is the buck, the mighty buck, and the oligarchs. So I think what we'll do is we want to move this country forward, but when we see him going off the rails, I'm sure we'll be fighting back even harder than we did before.
Right. You talked about chaos and Trump earlier, and many people would not disagree with you. But on the other hand, it was Trump's involvement in Israel-Gaza that finally led to this deal that we've seen come to fruition today.
Let's just say victories have a lot of mothers. And this was, let's remember that this was a plan put forward by Joe Biden in May. I think there were a lot of things at play in this, not the least of which is a lot of the Hamas leaders are gone. People were getting tired. And, you know, hey, yes, they did. Biden's people did talk to Trump, as they should. But again, victory has a lot of mothers.
Okay. One very brief, fine line, if you don't mind. Final line. Is this the beginning of a new era in American politics? Will it be unrecognizable? Yes or no?
It could be. It could be. And I worry about that. And that's what I'm so glad Joe Biden talked about in his speech, where he said he tried to take care of business. Now it's our turn. And what do we do with that?
Okay. Got to leave it there. Susan Platt, thank you very much indeed.